Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Shahab Karni on television I-95. And as promised last week, that we talked about the governor's race in the state of Maryland. But today we are going to have a good conversation about the race for the comptroller's office. And like last week, I have a very senior political analyst, Barry O'Connell, with me. Welcome to my show, Barry. Good morning.
Thank you so much. And good morning. It's wonderful to be here.
Sure. Thank you very much. Now, before we go to the candidates and names and profiles, please explain to our viewers what exactly this comptroller office means and what power they have in the state of Maryland. Go ahead, Barry.
Okay, let me explain something. There are three statewide elected officials: the governor, the attorney general, and the comptroller. But only the governor and the comptroller have a seat on the Board of Public Works. There's three seats. One of them is to the state treasurer, who is appointed by the legislature. And then the other two are the governor and the comptroller. And most people in Maryland, most people have never heard of this. They don't know what the Board of Public Works is. And it's urgently important. The Board of Public Works has to approve every piece of spending done in the state of Maryland. So if the governor puts in a budget and the legislature funds the budget and allocates money for, let's say, building a new high school, the Board of Public Works has to approve the money before it can be spent. Being passed into law by the legislature is not enough. It still needs the Board of Public Works. Now, the Board of Public Works, keep in mind, this is the only one in the country. Nobody else has anything like this. This goes back to ancient days in Maryland, all the way back. It's something different than any other state has. And when they get a contract for a state computer contract, they don't have to go with a low bidder. They can go with anyone they want. They can change it. Now, they're not going to change it unless they think they can get a better deal, unless there's a reason. But, you know, if they decide that company A is a few dollars lower and they're out of state, maybe out of the country, and and B is a Maryland company hiring Maryland people, giving jobs in Maryland, creating economic impact and economic benefit, the Board of Public Works has the right to take the contract away from contractor A and give it to contractor B if they think that's in the best interest of the state of Maryland. And I just finished a year-long contract. The state of South Carolina brought me in to redo the computer systems and the bookkeeping, everything for the South Carolina Department of Revenue. Now, Department of Revenue is like 95% the same as the comptroller's office. Every other state calls it the Department of Revenue or something like that. Only Maryland has a comptroller's office. But the difference is only Maryland has the Board of Public Works. Now, if you get a good person on the Board of Public Works, they can make a huge difference for the people of Maryland. They can ask a company, how many employees do you have in Maryland? What are you paying your employees? How do you benefit the state? They can ask any question they want. So if we get the right people, Peter Franchot has always been someone, when he was he's comptroller now, and he's always used the Board of Public Works to fight for a better Maryland.
Interesting. So it's not a matter of right. They have the power, in fact. So this is something good to know. Now, thank you very much for explaining that office, Barry. Now, let's come back to the race. You know, how many candidates do we have right now?
And we have three candidates. We have one Republican.
From each side, from Republican, from Democrat.
Yep. Let me start with the Republican. Barry Glassman is county executive of Harford County. Okay. And if you're going up 95 north of Baltimore, you're in Harford County. It's a big county. It's been primarily a rural county, and it's becoming more and more of a suburban county as more people are moving out into the to the Bel Air area and other areas of Baltimore County. 50 years ago it was farms. Now it's more and more housing for people working in Baltimore. Barry Glassman is, well, I'm going to tell you one of Barry Glassman's secret. Barry's secret weapon in this whole deal is, I've been told by women I know that they find Barry very handsome. They think he's so good looking.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm not suggesting there's anything bad about that. Women like Barry Glassman because he's a good looking guy. A little sexist, but I don't want to tell my friends they're sexist. So he makes a good appearance. And that's a big help for him. And it's always been a help for him. He came up through the Maryland General Assembly. Then he became county executive. He hasn't made any big mistakes. He hasn't done anything that you can really point a finger at. There's no questions. There's no dirt on Barry that I've ever heard. Now, not everybody likes everything he does. For instance, there's the emergency rental protection money allocated by the federal government to the state of Maryland, and it was millions and millions of dollars were allocated to Harford County, and Barry Glassman decided not to spend it. He sat on it. So if anybody needed rental assistance in Harford County, they didn't get it because Barry decided that, who knows, maybe it was too much work. Maybe it was too much paperwork. Maybe he didn't like, I don't know. But outside of that, this guy's spotless. He's very conservative. Keeping taxes low is a primary consideration as opposed to reaching out and doing the most for the greatest number of people. And that's the difference between Republicans and Democrats in Maryland generally. Barry Glassman's a good guy. If Maryland came up with a weak Democratic candidate for comptroller, Glassman would have a serious chance. And people have to keep in mind that in 2014, the Republicans put up a relatively weak candidate, a candidate so weak that he couldn't even raise money, that he had to go on the public financing. We call it on the dole, a welfare candidate. But the Democrats put up a weak candidate, Anthony Brown, and before you knew it, Larry Hogan was governor. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that if the Democrats put up a weak candidate, it could happen. Let's go to the Democrats.
Okay.
We've got two very different candidates. Brooke Lerman basically grew up in politics. Her father has been around politics for a long time. He was state Democratic chairman. And she's a really good and decent person whose whole focus of her life has been spent on helping other people, helping rise up the people who need it, helping people to be better people in Maryland. It's a good thing. She's finishing up her second term for delegate from Inner Harbor, Baltimore. She's in District 46, which is a district that's about, well, it was more white. It's about half white, half black right now, except for the growing Hispanic population. It's a mixed district. She's represented it well. The people like her. She gets great turnout from her people. She's popular. She's also, I think part of it was because she's bright and attractive. And, we're not supposed to mention she's attractive, but, she makes a great appearance and people like her. And consequently, she's been a leader above her years in the Maryland General Assembly. When the speaker wants someone to lead a floor fight on the budget, Brooke is one of the people that gets turned to regularly. When it's a tough job and you need to get the votes out and you need to pass a bill because it's best for the people of Maryland, they turn to Brooke and she does the job. She has been an extremely successful candidate across the board for her whole time. And she's widely admired and she's loved by the other delegates. People really like her. Even the Republicans like her. I mean, she's just somebody who's nice to work with, and that counts for a lot. Let's go to the other guy. Okay. Tim Adams is, well, he's African American. He's got a disability, and he is confined to a wheelchair for getting around. He's been an extremely successful businessman. He's built a large company. Tim's campaign rests strongly on the idea that Tim is a successful businessman. This is turning some people off because they're saying, what is he, the Black Donald Trump? And that's a concern for people, because Trump came into the presidency and saying, I'm an outsider. I'm a successful businessman. I can lead you to a better future. Well, we all saw, whether you like it or not, whatever happened, happened. Some people are looking at Tim Adams and comparing him to Donald Trump. Now, in addition to that, less than 2 years ago, he was elected mayor of Bowie, Maryland. Okay, now Bowie is a booming area. There's a lot of houses being built. There's a lot of people moving out there. It's becoming a circle of affluence in Prince George's County. It's a great place. And Tim ran for Senate and lost. And then he ran for mayor and he won. Now, I don't want to be unfair. I'm trying to think of exactly how I want to phrase this. The mayor's, okay, Bowie, Maryland has a council city manager form of government, which means the council decides and the city manager implements. Well, in a strong city manager government, what role does the mayor have? Well, the only thing Tim does is he presides over the council hearings.
So it's kind of more symbolic than really power. Yeah. So.
Absolutely. Tim is a symbolic, or some people are calling him a ceremonial mayor. He has no real power. He can't do a thing. He can't hire. He can't fire. He can't pass a bill. He's a figurehead mayor. But he's stressing that this gives him the experience to be comptroller. Now, the comptroller has a lot of employees. I think it's more than 1,000 offices across the state. These are the people that if you have a problem with your taxes, you call the comptroller's office. If you're wondering about a refund, you call the comptroller's office. And you know something else? When you call the comptroller's office, your telephone will be answered within 45 seconds. That's the way Peter does it. But let's not go into Peter. This is an extremely successful comptroller's office. And I've been in the business. I've done an awful lot of work for states around the country. I just finished up with the South Carolina Department of Revenue. Maryland's comptroller's office is considered one of the 4 best departments of revenue in the country. Now, exactly who's better this year versus last year, but the same 4 keep, and I think it's Massachusetts, Wisconsin, one other one, the place where Minneapolis is, I'm sorry, and Maryland are always in the top 4. Okay. It's a great office. But Tim doesn't have any experience running a large government organization. Tim is used to being a businessman who's created a large organization. I understand he has 500 employees, at least according to the paperwork he filed with the federal government. But he hasn't been active in government. And, you might ask, well, where was he all these years? Did he run for council? No. Did he run for anything? No. Was he active in his PTA? No. Did he do anything in Prince George's County for anyone besides himself? And the answer is no. Tim has been focused on himself, and now he thinks he deserves the comptroller seat because he's a successful businessman. So I'm looking over his company, SA Tech, and it's in Upper Marlboro, and just checking up on things. And I was going through it, and I noticed that as part of the PPP loans, Tim borrowed more than $7 million. So I got a hold of his campaign, was texting with Len Foxwell, and I asked, was Tim's company in trouble when he took the federal bailout? At that point, Foxwell threatened to sue me. He said that I would have to defend my accusations in court. It's like, calm down, guy. I'm asking an honest question because here's the point. Did Tim take the $7 million because he needed the money? If he needed the money to pay his employees, God bless him. We need people to pay their employees. During COVID, that was critical. On the other hand, there have been accusations that many business people have borrowed money they didn't need because the program was available and then used that money to make more money. Tim needs to clarify. Did he need the PPP loan? Did he need the federal bailout? Or was he just taking money that could have helped other businesses? I don't know. We'll see.
Very valid question. And I don't see any offense towards your question. I don't know why Lenny Foxwell had to respond or should respond in that manner. So, well, Barry, thank you very much. I think you gave us a very comprehensive review of the Comptroller's office and the candidates running who are leading. Next week, just FYI for the audience and for Barry, also the next week, we're going to talk about generally how the state of Maryland General Assembly should be looking like so that most of the elected House of Delegate people can very well serve the citizens of the state of Maryland, how most of the majority of the citizens want that to be looking, what thought process. So
this is going to be a big race. It's going to be the House races are going to be wild and crazy.
Yes, a lot of open seats, So
absolutely,
how the citizens demand or expect. So please do your homework, Barry, and I will be touching next week. All right.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate this.
No problem. Thank you very much, Barry, and thank you very much, my viewers. God bless all of you. Next week, I will be again with this topic, connecting with you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.